a moment where you were super inspired by something?
I think for me, Anthony, he would always bring like um, Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball GT like drawing books to school. Dragon Ball Z drawing books, and then like I would get the books from the library and like
Let's think. I got a couple. Let's segue a little bit. Do you have any non-art skills that you want to master in your lifetime? Like, I want to get good with cooking. However,
I feel that. No, I am into cooking as well and have been in the past. And I always say that like I feel like a lot of us artists are because like we're kind of our brains are kind of built to be like particular about things. And I think that cooking kind of lends itself to being like good at those type of things. So I think that a lot of artists are good at cooking. So yeah, I think it would be cool to be like good at cooking though, like super good. Let me see non-art skills. I've always wanted to do a backflip, but I'm always a trampoline. It would be like at like a cousin's house, trampolining and stuff. But I have been
yeah,
like,
different. Like, I can't convince my body to want to do that.
yeah, exactly. It's usually like a belly or not a belly flop. I guess like a back flop, but just like you
Yeah,
like shaking
exactly.
violently in the air.
The way people think, what would you change if you had that power in your hands?
To like a birthday party and like no one showing up. Like that gets me like open minded to things. I think a lot of things, and a lot of like
Yeah, I would agree. I think that people giving people and things chances makes the world go round, to be honest. It always, like, it takes one person to put themselves out there, but then it absolutely takes another person to follow up and like reciprocate that or see it, you know?
definitely, definitely.
Can you remember any turning points in your like style and life? I think we touched on this a little bit in our previous like the shoot your shot interview, but it'd be cool to hear you talk a little more in depth about it here.
At the iPad, I was kind of confronted with that feeling of like, what what do I want my art to be and what do I want people to know my art for, and kind of just having like a meaning behind my art. I think certain of these like galleries and stuff, they would like ask me for like a description for my art or like an artist bio, make a point of having more stories and stuff in my art, or just like not even anything like super like important, just something I can like expand on and tell people about. So that was like 2018ish, around the time where I got like my first iPad. um and then around early 2021, and this was like a little bit after I had minted my first NFT, but it was before I had really started to sell. um, it was around Mayish, and I had quit my job in May. But like right after I had quit my job, I just really wanted to make a point and taking art way more serious. Because when I had quit because I wanted to do art and wanted that to be my job, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to do that. Like I said, I hadn't sold an NFT, so I think at the time I had thought that I was going to be able to do it with like prints or like commission work and all those types of things, but um like I said, I really wanted to make a point to have my art actually mean something and actually past meaning something, actually have like stories and stuff from my life and stuff that can connect with people's lives. So that's around the time when I had like the you make me feel like I've crashed, or that series and stuff, with like the a happy place and fresh off the lot. Um I just really wanted my art to kind of connect with certain parts of people's lives, and because with this digital art age, and you can see so many pieces of art each day, and you can kind of forget stuff because like it's literally like I think that we're able to see more art than anyone has ever seen. So I wanted to be able to stick out and actually like kind of latch myself onto parts of people's lives, because people will look at my pieces and tell me like, oh, this reminds me of this part of my life, or this reminds me when I was a kid, and I would do this and that and all those types of things. So that was another point. And then I think more recently I've kind of been on this wave where I want my art to like be in like museums and have that kind of like fineness to it. uh I think a lot of like my earlier NFT stuff, a lot of stuff can be kind of, not to say too personal, but it can be a lot of like me in the art. And like if you look at like my pieces and stuff, like a lot of the characters will look like me. And I think I want to, not to say get away from that, but I think that there's space for me to make different collections and series and stuff that don't have characters that necessarily look like me, but still have that kind of connection to the pieces. Yeah, like that importance.
Totally, totally. That to touch on something that you said at the beginning of that answer, how do you want people to see you? I know that you want people to make personal connections with your artwork. How do you see people seeing you, the person, in the future or and now?
Ultimately, I think that you can't really, I mean, you can control how people see you to an extent, but ultimately, like, people are going to perceive you however they're going to. I would just say that I always want people to know that I'm just like super, like, I want the best for everyone. I'll say it like that. I think that people can kind of like, especially in this, like, we can almost be like competitive in this space in a sense, but not really, but kind of. And I just want like everyone to be friends, honestly. And so I just want people to see me as like a friendly person. Uh, and then beyond that, I think something that I just want to stress, and this isn't necessarily even like a personality thing, but I want people to be able to, like me as well, but I want people to be able to make anything that they want to, and be able to tell any stories that they want to, and be able to do different things. Because I think that sometimes we can kind of get pigeonholed. Someone will see a certain piece or something, and they'll be like, okay, like this is you and this is what you do, and like I want like 30 more of those exact things. And I
Mhm.
think that there's room for us to have different styles and different stories that we can tell, that can all still come from us. And it doesn't necessarily have to be seen as like these random things.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I would agree with that. It's easy to feel like you need to get pigeonholed, especially like online and in like the Twitter atmosphere, because it's like as soon as you I don't know, as soon as you start thinking about it, the engagement starts getting wonky. So it's like it's refreshing to hear people just be like, no, like you got to just make stuff how you want to, like make what you want to make, you know. And it there are avenues for people who have all kinds of different skill sets, and it's like it's not a good thing, particularly to pigeonhole yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's like a fine balance because obviously, like so certain people that they'll look at certain pieces sell from like big artists in the space, 30 ETH, 100 ETH and stuff. And maybe they don't think that the art is that great and stuff. And then they'll be like, okay, like why are they selling this much and all that? And one big point that I always tell people usually is like a lot of times with those types of people and those types of artists and all that type of stuff, collectors want to see like they want to be able to look at a work and be able to be like, oh, that's like a Grant Yun piece, or that's like a Otherworld piece, or that
Mhm.
type of stuff where you're able to see people's styles. But I think that there is something in there where you can almost like have different styles. Like a good example, I'll say, if you know him, Defaced, he has a bunch of different like mediums and styles and different ways that he like displays his characters and stuff, but you can still like kind of see that it is a defaced piece.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I would agree with you. While we're on the subject of social media, what's something that annoys you about Twitter? What's something that you absolutely love? Since it seems like this is like the hub space for all of like NFTs and Web3 and crypto, outside of like Discord a little bit, but it's mostly on Twitter. So yeah, what are some pros and cons that you've seen specifically, or just things that frustrate you or that make you
Um,
happy?
Sometimes I feel, or actually, I'll say earlier on, I felt this way, but you can kind of feel like people don't see you and like they'll kind of only see like the artists that are selling and stuff. But I think that there is this thing where it's like especially okay, also for like because this kind of relates to like the super rare thing where people are like, I sent in my application to super rare like 4 times and like they haven't gotten back. But I'm like, there's like 50,000 people, that have submitted to super rare and stuff. So I think that it's kind of like that thing where we can kind of get caught in like what we're doing on this side and we don't realize how much that these other people are seeing on a day-to-day basis where they may never see your comment or they may never see your stuff and stuff. And it's not because they don't want to see it. It's because like there's literally so much going on and there's literally so many things and so many people that are trying to get into contact with these people or these entities and stuff. So I think that was like early on was something that was like super annoying to me. But something I just love being around this many artists. Um like I said, with like the interning at New Balance thing, it was like me and like 30 other artists, and whether that be like designers or colors and materials people, um, or like me, I was a footwear designer. I think that being around that many people that were like all focused on the same goal was just so awesome. And, a lot of us were that person in our schools that people were like looking over our shoulders, watching us draw at lunch, or the people that people would tap, during like a class project. They'd be like, okay, you're doing the art because like you're the best artist. And I think that all of us were like those people for like our schools or the people in our lives and stuff. So coming together and being able to relate with that many people on those types of things was just so awesome. And I think that kind of relates to this space as well. There's so many people that we have similar backgrounds, whether it be the commission world or like the traditional art world or anything. And we'll have similar stories and stuff, and it's just like, okay, I feel way more connected with this person than a regular person that doesn't have these experiences and stuff. So I think it's cool being a part of so many group chats and knowing so many cool artists. And early on in the space, like there were certain artists, I think like Vinny, I think, and like other artists like that, where I knew them before being a part of like the art world on Twitter. But knowing those people can kind of introduce you to other people, and get put in this group chat, and then you meet a lot of cool people, and then these people put you into that group chat. So I love the like connectivity of it all.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that you drew it back to just like sort of an experience or feeling in the past again. Like I said, I really love those comparisons. Sort of to piggyback off of that question, who do you talk to the most in real life? Do you have other artist friends in real life? Do you have uh important IRL connections? How do your relationships in real life compare with the ones that you have on Twitter?
Oh wait, I can have friends in real life too. No, but but no, I
It's a
think
myth. It's a myth.
a l- I think honestly, and it's a bad thing, but I think like I talk to you guys on here like way more than my friends in real life, and I kind of need to fix that. But I think really for me, I think I talk to like my siblings more than like anything else. I like still live with my family and stuff, so like they're like always around, and my little brother's an artist too, so like I'll like even like minting that piece up there like Turbo today, like I had like asked him about the description because like he's in college right now. I'm just like, hey, like can you read this and just make sure that like this sounds all good? And he's like, yeah, it's good. So I'm like, okay. So like I think that like him, like I'll just be bouncing ideas off of him and showing him new art when I make it, and yeah. So for me, it's like my siblings and like the people in my house, but um, I think I can get better at like being a part of the local art community. I'm not sure if there's a big like crypto scene for it right now, and maybe that's something that I need to like work on and make myself. But yeah, I can get better at that. But yeah, usually I'm just like up talking to my art friends on Twitter.
No, I totally feel that. It's honestly going back to like the how there's enough creative things to do to keep you occupied all day. There's also enough like online social things to do to keep you.
Usually, so this is my has been my process since like entering the space. So I'll just get into like my background of Web3, and then I'll just kind of spin that into this question. So basically, I forget how exactly I had learned about like Web3 and then like minting on Foundation, but I think some of the artists that I was following had did it at the time. And so me and a friend that I had met during one of those footwear workshops, we were just like got like really cool on Instagram, and we were just like, okay, like we both want to get onto Foundation, and at the time, like it was like kind of super like exclusive, so we were
Mhm.
just both like, okay, we want to get onto Foundation, and whichever one of us, if we can find a way on there, we'll get the other person in, like deal, handshake, and eventually he did find his way on there. So and then at the time you weren't able to give an invite unless you had sold a piece yourself. So I was
Yep.
like, okay, like mint, and I'll just like buy it instantly. Like I want to be on Foundation. So he had minted a piece and I had bought it, and I had probably minted like the same day, but I didn't know that there was like you didn't needed a whole community in order to like sell stuff basically. So I thought that I was just gonna be able to mint it and then it's just gonna like fly off the shelves.
Mhm.
So that piece had sat from like late March till around mid August. And once that piece had actually like got bidded on, I think that was the one that you had actually ended up owning. I think that was Margaret. But once
Yeah.
it was
Oh, I think I'm having some connection issues with you again. Oh, you're good. I can hear you now.
All right. All right. My bad. I had clicked leave on accident. But
Oh,
like I was saying, like I had said, once I had actually like got that piece bidded on, it kind of just like clicked this thing in my head where I was like, oh, like I can actually like sell my art and make a living off of my
You
art. So it
slackers couldn't even get.
like I said, clicked something in my head where I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna wake up, eat, and then just do art until I sleep, and then like rinse, repeat every day. So I was a person that was like always like movies and shows, and then like if I get like 3 a.m., I'll go work on some commissions here and there or whatever. But then I was like, okay, no movies or shows, just art, and then like music sometimes, but most of the times I'm probably like listening to Twitter Spaces, just like absorbing the whole Web3 space and just getting used to it all. Um, so yeah, with doing that, wait, what was the original question? Because I'm gonna link it back. Hold on.
um, oh, that was kind of an open-ended question, just talking about like your schedule directly. How do you maintain it? Your general thoughts on
Okay,
scheduling as an artist?
yeah, perfect, perfect. My bad. All right, so um, once I had actually started to get a style, and I think it had really stemmed from my piece Joy. Once that one had sold, and I think at the time that was like my all-time high, and it had just connected with so many people. So then I just really wanted to take that feeling of that piece and just like turn it into a whole like collection and my whole like style. So that's when you had got pieces like Birthday Boy and Lightning in a Jar and all those types of pieces. It really came from like that piece. And around the time where that had happened, I had started just getting so many different ideas for different stuff I could do, and I would just like put that down into like my notes app. It would be like 40 pieces that are just like I haven't touched at all, like I haven't done them yet, but like they're like done in my head. So really, I would just like if I needed a new piece, I would just be like, okay, like what are we gonna do today? I would look down the list and let me see, I could probably pull it up right now. Hold on. But yeah, really, I would just look down the list and like read one of the names, and I would just be like, okay, yeah. So literally, this has like, snowball fight, birthday boy, cowboy question mark, kids gathered around Game Boy, good and evil. Like it's just, but it's like 40 of these, just like going down the list. So I would just like choose one of those and be like, okay, how do I want to execute this? What type of colors do I want? What type of composition do I want? Um, so really, it's kind of like that for me now. And sometimes I don't even have to write it down, but I'll have pieces in my head, and I'll just be like, okay, how do I want to do that? And while I'm working on a piece, I'll be thinking of the next piece and thinking of all those different factors, whether it be composition, color, the concept, uh, just the general ideas that I want to throw in there. And some of those pieces, like I know that I won't get to until like maybe 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, because I know that I've got so many different other pieces that maybe there's a whole story that I need to tell before getting to this certain piece. So I would say I kind of do plan ahead in that sense, but I will say also that plans change. So maybe I do plan something down the line, but then I'm like, okay, it doesn't really make sense, to do that anymore. Maybe I'll turn that idea into this, or maybe I'll turn it into that. So yeah, I think that there's certain things even now where I'm like I know that there's things I want to do, or characters that I want to introduce into my world, whether that be good and evil, or Joy and Wonder, or the new collection that I have now, Evil in Color. It'll be certain characters or ideas or pieces that I know that I want to do eventually, but I know that it won't make sense to do them, right at this very moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Sorry, yeah, what is your relationship with goals? So it sounds like you have like a list of creations that you're ready to make. Do you set yourself specific goals? I know you said it's important to be flexible, but like, yeah, do you have any like real concrete goals, or are you more of a take it day by day kind of person?
I think I am super flexible with my goals as well. I think like when I had my art up in Times Square, like that wasn't necessarily a goal that I had for myself at the time, but I would have that general feeling of a goal. Like I do want because I actually it was actually kind of crazy. I'm just not thinking of this, but um, this space, and I'm super grateful for it. But this space has allowed me to be able to travel. Like before this, I wasn't really traveling. The only time I had traveled before this space was that time that I did intern for New Balance in Boston. So being in the space and having the funds to travel finally and having places to travel, whether that be like the Art Basels of the world or NFT LA, NFT New York. Um, Around the time, maybe even before Art Basel last year, I was kind of like, I was kind of a person that was like, oh, I don't ever want to go to New York. They're probably dirty. But then I was like, but if my art ends up in New York, then I'll go. But and then I was able to have like I forget how many pieces, like 6 or 7 pieces actually be displayed in New York this time. So I think it's kind of cool to think of that. Like, but I think for me, I do have like the goals of like my stuff being in museums someday. I want like a solo exhibit, at a certain point. I'm super excited for like an art book. I'm super into art books. I collect art books. I probably have like 30 or 40 right now. I just say like every time I buy one, I'm like, I'm studying. I'm studying. I'm just getting this to study so I can know how I want to do mine. So like there's stuff like that where it's just like a general like, okay, art book, art exhibits, museum. But I don't think I have anything super concrete like, oh, I want to be in the MoMA by September 17th. Like it's nothing like that. Like it's nothing super specific. But
Yeah, I feel that. I think
um
with art, it's like it's almost more fulfilling when it comes at you like blind, when you like don't expect it and it's like, oh shit, like this is real.
Definitely, yeah. That's kind of like with the Times Square thing. Like I'd never expected that to even be like something that could happen. Like I wasn't in class as a kid like, oh, my stuff could be in Times Square. Like I had never even been to New York. So I think it was just really cool for like my first time to be in New York was because I have art there like all throughout the city. Um but yeah, and then other stuff like there's certain characters or certain stories and stuff like I could see like a Joy and Wonder movie or like a Good and Evil TV show. Like the Justice Jones character I have, like I got so many different ideas for like action figures, backpacks, folders, notebooks, like all types of like merchandising stuff that I was just like, okay, that would be really cool. Like I always used to see like Superman lunch pails. What if I had like a Justice Jones lunch pail? Like, so I think it's stuff like that. That is just like I said, the part that brings me joy in art is just bringing stuff to life and seeing the ideas in my head turn into stuff that I can actually show people. Like, hey, this is what I was meaning when I said like, oh, like there's a devil and an angel on the shoulder, and then like this and that and all that. Like, no, like this is what I mean. Like, you can click on it, like you can look at it, you can zoom in. So I think I do want to just actualize more things. I would say that.
Definitely, definitely. You touched on being able to travel now and sort of unlocking that ability in your life. Do you have any travel goals? Like what's your bucket list as far as places that you want to go, and where's the craziest place you've been so far?
All right, the craziest place, I'll start there. Miami. Miami is the craziest place. It's just a wild place. Um, I'm excited to go back though. I'm excited for Basel, but I always tell people I'm like I wouldn't live in Miami. Like I'll go there for like a week, 2 weeks maybe, but like I don't want to live there. I don't think anyone should live there. But it's great for like vacationing. Um, but in the future, I think I just want to go somewhere. I've never been on like an island, so I want to go somewhere like super sandy with like the ocean just out in front of me. That sounds really cool to me. So maybe like Hawaii or Bali or something. Uh, I'd never had like the desire to go like overseas in the sense of like Paris or the UK or something. But I'd be open to go to the UK if I got into like a Sotheby's or Christie's or something. But
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
probably wouldn't go there to just go there. But maybe like Japan. I'd go to Japan. That sounds cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Japan seems like a futuristic dream. I don't know. I definitely want to like fully immerse myself in multiple different places in Japan because it just seems like such a fascinating place to be.
Definitely, yeah. My best friend in real life, his family's from Okinawa, and he just always used to tell me about like traveling there and like tell me like about the whole like surrounding area and all that. So yeah, no, that sounds super exciting. Whether it be like Okinawa or Tokyo, all those types of things. So yeah, I'd be open to that definitely.
To scroll back a little bit to talking about your art, what goes into your color choices, and how much time you have like a pretty realistic style? How much time is spent drawing versus like planning stuff out and like thinking about composition and thinking about color choices and all of that?
Um, Unfortunately, I don't have like a super like artistic background educationally. So like I didn't go to like art school or design school or anything. So I never really got to learn like color theory. But usually with the colors, I usually just be like, you know, ooh, this red would look really cool with like that blue, or like this purple would look really cool with like this lime green. So usually for me, it's just like a feeling thing. But I do want to actually like study color theory a little bit more. I think I'm getting a little bit better at it now, where I kind of know what colors go the best together, what colors can kind of bounce off of each other in that sense. But usually, I think the speed of being able to do something kind of depends on um it kind of depends on how good my references are, how good my like the idea I have in my head, just how solid everything is. Because sometimes when I'm doing a piece, I'll kind of discover things along the way, or I'll kind of like have a new idea, like, oh, never mind, I won't do this that I originally planned to do. I'll turn it into this. But if there's not a lot of those roadblocks along the way, I could kind of just like shoot out a piece and like the good and evil, the devil, I just pinned it to the top. So this one, I literally like did the bulk of this piece in probably like I think it was like 16 hours straight. I woke up one day and I was just like, okay, I want to see how fast I could do a good and evil. So I think I had worked on this from like the afternoon until like I think I was up at like 10 a.m. or something. Uh, but yeah, so this one was like 16 hours or something for the bulk of it. And then there's other pieces that are like super realistic looking that I could probably pump out in like 10 hours or something. But there's other stuff where like a happy place, like the one with the girl on the car, and then the boy spray painting
Mhm.
the car. That one took me maybe months because I just kept on changing stuff, and that one went through probably like 10 different backgrounds that are like fully fleshed, or maybe not fully fleshed out, but like at least like halfway fleshed out. Where like I think I had started off, I wanted it to be like a fence, and then like kind of like a junkyard look, and then I kind of wanted it to be like a different side of the junkyard that's more like grassy, and then I changed it to like an abandoned like racetrack, and then I had changed it to like something else, and then I had eventually landed on that like desert scape for like an abandoned diner. So yeah, so stuff like that where the ideas keep on changing. I'd say that takes longer, but as long as I have like a super solid concept and know where I'm going with a piece, I can kind of do it pretty quick.
Okay, cool, cool. Um, okay, gonna flip to a little bit different subject here. Who are your favorite characters in media? Do you have any like childhood favorites, current favorites? Like who are some characters that just like you either love or love to hate or think are played really well or are interesting?
All right, so definitely what came to mind when I just heard cool, Trunks from Dragon Ball Z. I just always thought he was like the coolest guy ever. Even though I think probably Gohan is probably my favorite character from Dragon Ball Z, but always thought that Trunks was just like the coolest. Um, Let me see what are some other ones. I think with like me making Justice Jones, I think that Beautiful Joe and Ultimate Muscle and Batman Beyond and Static Shock, those are like huge influences on that like superhero character. Because Saturday mornings, like that was like my life. Like I would wake up so early on Saturday mornings just to like catch every cartoon and just like live in that world for however long. So yeah, a lot of them would be like those like Saturday morning cartoon characters, Batman, Spider Man.
Definitely, definitely. I think a lot of us came up watching the the morning cartoons and just kind of like losing ourselves in the beginning of the day. I think that that has such a huge influence on so many people.
Definitely, yeah. Even just like with me and like the Joy and Wonder series, like I that especially like the Hero in the Making piece I had made, I just wanted to take myself back to that time of like just waking up and living in that world. I just wanted to bring other people back to that world.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you have any TV recommendations, music recommendations? But I know you said you collect art books, book recommendations. Feel free to go down like a whole list, some things that just pop up in your head.
Yeah, so TV shows, I would say Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, Severance, Succession, Curb Your Enthusiasm, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Arrested Development. Maybe throw a little anime in there, a little Hunter x Hunter, One Punch Man. Uh, an anime I love super recently that was just like super like it was just so touching. Ranking of Kings. That one's great. Music. I've got this album that I just always tell everyone to listen to. It's called Frailty. It's by Jane Remover, and I'm in love with that album.
Okay.
Uh, Let me see books. I love my Hikari Shimoda book. She's probably my favorite artist, along with like George Kondo. But her book is awesome. I've got a Murakami book. I forget which one it is, but that one is great. Um, I recently Goliath had put me onto this one book recently. It's like the Art of Atari, and the thing that's super
Ooh,
cool about that
interesting.
book and just that time it yeah, that time in gaming was like those games were so simple. Like they were literally dots that were just bouncing back and forth, or just super simplified games. So the art of whatever that game was kind of like half of the game, because it's like this is what we want you to be imagining when you're playing these games. So the art from that time was just super like expressive, and the colors in that book are so crazy, and the compositions are just so wild. And see, I would suggest that book. I forget how much it is on like Amazon, but yeah, like once he like suggested that to me and then I got it, I was like, oh, like this is crazy. So yeah, that book. And then there's a Yumin Jin book I had got recently. He's this Chinese artist, and I just love his stuff. He's one of my favorite artists. Uh, so he basically draws this character that looks like himself. It's similar to me. I think that's probably why I like him so much. And he'll just like draw it like some of these pieces have it like this character on it for like 40 of them, just like standing together, doing the same exact facial expression. And I just think that his art is so awesome. So yeah, check out him too. I'll make a tweet because like a lot of those names are probably not going to be super recognizable just listening to them. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, are there any pieces of art that you've made that you feel are underrated or that you just want a chance to like tell people about in depth?
Um, I think
Sort of a
I
broad
think that
question, but
I think that the piece no, it's all good. I think the piece that you have, I think that something that's so cool about that one is it was actually based off of a piece that I did back in 2014 when I had actually began painting for the first time. And I just like it was always like a lot of people's favorite piece for me at the time. And when I had got my iPad, I was like, okay, like what pieces do I want to do? And then I was like, oh, let me just update Margaret, because like this piece like it means a lot to me already, and I already have the concept out there, so I know that I could make it better, with the new style and the iPad and all that. So yeah, that's definitely one of them. I think one of my like I would say like the Good and Evils definitely, but one of my favorite Good and Evils is what's that one called again? It's the Gone Fishing. Yeah, I'm tripping. So that one I just really love the way that I rendered it, and like the colors looks like insane to me. Not to toot my own horn.
please
Another one
do
of those
toot away.
pieces that were just like Another one of those pieces that were just like sitting forever because I was like 80% done with it, but like I knew that I wanted to add something else. I just didn't know what that thing was. So when it was sitting and stuff, parts were kind of finished. But one day I was just like, oh, like I think I have a really cool idea in my head on how to render rain. And then once I had rendered it, I was like, ooh, this looks great. And then I was like, okay, but he's wearing a hat, so like the rain would drip off the hat. So I think that's one of like, if you had to ask me like my single favorite piece of a piece that I've done, it's probably like the water that's on his hat that's like dripping off. I loved how I rendered that. And like when I had like eventually made that and like did that one night that I did it, I was just like, yes, yes, yes. I was probably like jumping around the room, like, yes, I figured it out. Finally, I could like post this piece.
Yeah,
Um,
that's one of the best feelings.
literally, no, that's literally it. Cause like if you're an artist, you know that there's like this stage in art that we call like the ugly stage where like a piece is like you know where you want to go with it, but like it's not there yet. And it's like really not there yet. So like it's like ugly for like that time. And I think it was in the ugly stage for like the longest time. But once I had added the rain and the water, and then like the water that's like sitting on the devil's fishing line, I was like, okay, yeah, no, like I figured it out.
Totally, totally. Okay, so how do you know when you finish a piece? It's probably a little bit more easy now that your process is more streamlined, but I know definitely like in the beginning stages of artistry, it's we run into this like I don't know when it's done. Like do you cut yourself off eventually, or are you just somebody who goes and you don't really think about when it's going to be finished until it's finished, or what's up?
I think for me, thankfully now I kind of can see like, okay, like this is done. But I think at a time that I was that person, I was just like, okay, like do I need to add more or can I post this now or all that? But I think now I kind of have this thing where I'll like literally like when I'm working on a piece, like I'll probably like airdrop it to myself like 100 times throughout the day. Like I'll just keep on sending it to myself, you know, however long or for however like far I am with it in it, you know. So I'll just always like if you go to my photo gallery, it'll be like the piece like scattered around my photo gallery like 20 times in like random like stages of it. So like anytime I'm sitting around or like let's say I'm eating or something, I'll literally just like get out my gallery and just like zoom in on the piece and zoom into different parts. So I'm like, okay, I could fix this here, or I could fix this there, or his head's a little big on this side, or this color can like the saturation could come up on this side, or oh, I should change the background like this, or I should render it like this. So yeah, I think a lot for me, it's just like looking at the piece constantly throughout the day, and then at a certain point, I'll look at it and be like, okay, like I don't, there's nothing else that I would fix right now. So that's when I know when it's finished.
Totally, totally. Okay, so we're actually coming up on about an hour. I want to give people in the audience an opportunity to request to come up and ask any questions they might have. But in the meantime, I want to know if you have any hot takes or hard lessons that you've learned along the way,
I
or
would
both.
say go at your own pace. Uh, I think a lot of times, especially in this space where things are happening so quick, and you're seeing other people get sales here and there and all that type of stuff, you can kind of get caught up in it, like, oh no, I need to mint now because these people are minting and these people are selling, and you know, ETH is doing this and all that. And I think that ultimately you just need to like chill out, slow down, work at your own pace. You know, if you've got something great, then it can be great, you know, a month from now, you know, unless you just don't have faith in yourself like that. But if you have faith in yourself and your art, just know that like you can work at your own pace and, you know, if good things are going to happen to you, they can happen to you later, you know. You don't need to rush things in order to, because then you know you're going to look back in like a month and be like, oh, I could have spent way more time on this piece, or I could have did way more and put more thought into this and that, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's honestly a great point to end on. If we don't have any audience questions, I really appreciate you coming up to talk, and it's been great hearing from you.
Awesome. No, I appreciate it. Oh wait, I got a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, like I said, you own my Genesis. So, what made you bid on that at the time?
Um, Honestly, like your art has just always been sick. I'm captivated by it. That was one of my introductions to you as a just like as an artist. And I love being able to get people's Genesis, like, or anybody's first NFT on a platform, stuff like that. Like, if I'm in position, those are the kinds of auctions that I like to kick off. Even if I don't win it, like, I just like to be involved with like people who I think are going to go far to be involved with their early progress. So it was honestly like a no brainer to me. I was like, I saw that and I'm like, I need that one.
Nah, I appreciate it, bro. Nah, you literally like you're a big part of my story. You set this thing off for real. So I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man, I'm happy to have that. And yeah, happy to have a piece from you in your collection and to see how far you've come since then has just been sick. So all the power in the world to you. And with that, we could
Yes,
probably go ahead
sir.
and close it on out. Everybody, thank you for
All right,
coming.
thank you for having me. This was great.
Yeah, absolutely, bro. Take care.